much. So because I'm a fucking idiot, I've got to hit the record button again. So, and I love you that much that I'm going to do a recording right now and post it for you. Just me talking to me. So let's go. Let's go through what we just talked about in the group. All right. So I was covering the fact that there's a virus getting around, and the virus is called the fuck it virus. There's actually only one cure for this virus, and that's to set some fucking standards for yourself, basically. So I'm going to share my screen and some notes. So look, it is really easy this time of year to put some things in the fuck it pile, right? Exercise can be one of them. You know, meal prepping or staying on target with your food is going to be one. You know, there's going to be extra chocolate kicking around, which is stuff that I've heard getting around in the group chat and in the gym. Fatigue is another one. Like there's extra social events, there's extra pressure to see people, there's extra pressure like just around events. So therefore, staying on standard can definitely be harder. But my advice in this moment would be to move from the fuck it pile over to the fuck yeah pile, is to redo some standards so that you can stay on target. It may not be your normal standard. So if exercise is an issue, like kicking around that 20, 30 minute sort of bracket instead of trying to do your 45-minute workouts, like I'm actually okay with that. Like in reality, like some of my workouts are only 30 minutes because I haven't got the capacity at times to do that. But my one of my standards is that I move every day. So if it's a 20, 30 minute workout as opposed to a 45-minute workout, that's better than nothing. Like if it's stuff around eating around event times and like there's Christmas parties and things going on, like if you genuinely want to stay on track, like the day of the Christmas party for us, I still made sure I had two high protein meals before I went to that event. And I'm pretty religious for doing that regardless. So you're not having to deprive yourself, but you're not overdoing it either. Like it's just about having some simple swap outs to still stay on your targets. Fatigue, like the chocolate, actually. The chocolate, you don't have to eat the fucking chocolate. Like you just don't have to. Well, you don't have to eat 10 ton of it either. Like if it's kicking around the smoker room or sitting in the staff room, like don't eat it. And if you had your high protein meals ready and prep because you didn't let the busyness get in the way of you still doing your meal prep, the chocolate won't be as inviting. But if you're skipping meals because you haven't prepped things, you're gonna eat the chocolate. So getting in front of it by staying on some level of target is going to be really, really important. When it comes to the fatigue thing, like there's definitely a narrative around Christmas time that it's time to take a break. I would say taking a break needs to be swapped for, or taking a break or I just can't needs to be swapped for, like, I'll do something and it may not be my normal, but it's going to be something. And fatigue can, resting isn't necessarily always going to be your fatigue. Like, I'll do something that like energizes me. Like for me, when I think I need a break, it doesn't necessarily mean like go and lay down. I just go and find something that's for me and that's going to give me energy. That's going to make me feel better. Um, so yeah, I think fatigue can be tackled in a few different ways, and I think that around that social pressure and doing events, like that's definitely going to take from you, but it can also give back to you. But I think these two things here can be well and truly dealt with because they are very much up in the mind, can be dealt with if we hit a couple of these like fuck yeah standards over here around the 20 to 30 minute workout, 20 to 30 minute workouts and hitting the high protein meals. So the way we frame things up, I think, is also been pretty important. It's okay to lower the bar this time of year, but we don't drop it. All right. Like we just have simple swap outs for things that we would normally do at a higher level, but we swap them for something that is near enough, then that is then good enough. But I think the motto that we came up with was lower the bar, don't drop it. I think that's really important. So when you're thinking about framing things up and keeping to your standards, like it's just how you speak to, it's how you speak to this sort of period of time. I think that that's fucking vital. Like the narrative around it, it's like, this time of year that's everything's slowing down, everything's having a break, blah, 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 blah. I think there's some merit in that where you're allowed to do that, but I think you shouldn't just drop all your standards whatsoever and then attempt and then think you're just going to pick them up in a couple of weeks' time. It's not going to be that simple. So lowering the bar instead of dropping it, I'm going to put that in metaphorical terms. It's much easier to pick a bar up from a lower height than it is to pick it up from the floor, yeah? So how we frame things up and having standards is really important. When it comes to the environment, it's going to dictate a whole lot about how we are showing up. So what I kind of went through in this moment was that, like, it might not be a gym workout, but it'll be a walk over going to the gym. I'm actually going to have at-home workouts for you to complete over the Christmas period if you're traveling, or if you can't get to the gym, even though we're open basically the whole time. But the home workout, instead of going to the gym, maybe that's just a way around sort of routine was something that came up a lot. Being out of routine is really can actually lead to fatigue. So if we have some level of routine, we can actually get rid of that voice around being fatigued, feeling busy, under pressure, overwhelmed. If we have some level of routine, because routine is essentially just a plan. If you have a plan, then you've got some clarity. Like if you're having time off, I think you're highly likely to pick up some bad habits, such as scrolling more than you normally would, um, sleeping in more than you not normally would. Um, yeah, there's a few of those standards that can drop off, but if you just kind of set some intention around your environment and have some routine, you could even actually use this time off if you do have a break from work to install some new habits like reading or listening to a book, like feeding your mind. It's going to give you energy, especially if you're listening to the right stuff. The stuff that's about personal development or growth really energizes me. So sometimes when I need to get motivated, listening to something that's like related to what I'm working on, either life or business wise, really motivates me. So, you know, environment's really important. Which brings us to the not negotiables, which at the end of the day, not negotiables are really important. And you might actually have some, but I'm a big fan of the fact you should write them down. So I spoke about like what some of my daily standards are. And if you want to look at it from just a work sense, I've got standards that I'm like really, working hard to stick to because they actually, if I just did one of them every day, it actually moves me closer to the goal that we're trying to achieve. And I set a goal 12 months ago for the business. And we are very, very close. But this is not the time to let the foot off the pedal if I'm going to achieve that goal. I personally think that if you've got a goal, you should do everything within your power to get it, um, and not let go of it until you absolutely have to. That's my opinion. But if you've got some not negotiables, I am a big fan of triggering them every day. So I have daily standards here above my computer. I actually have them written on a habit tracker as well so that I can tick them off. And they're actually the screensaver on my phone, on my desktop, on my iPad, and they're actually printed off and sitting on the wall here. So there's four different places, five different places, six, seven. There's seven places that are either related to my standards and not negotiables or my goals that I look at every day. And subliminally, that is pushing you towards, like you're getting closer towards ticking them off if you can trigger them. But I think the implementation step out of this session needs to be around setting not negotiables. So if you're going to set not negotiables, I would expect that you would have at least 3 to 5 of them. So one of them could be to move every day. One of them could be to hydrate every day. It could be Sue had one around mindful eating because we all eat when we're busy. So mindful eating is another one. Like anything that's related to the better version of you should be where your not negotiables are tied to. Once you have set your not negotiables that are tied to, fucking pen. They're tied to the growth version of you. Once you've done that, you just want to trigger them 3 times a day. Tools around triggering them. You could actually set alarms on your phone just to get you in the momentum of actually triggering the vision, triggering your not negotiables 3 times a day, or triggering your vision 3 times a day is also good. So if you've got a vision board, you should trigger it regularly. You can use the not negotiables for 2 reasons, depending on what sort of part of the category you fit in, whether you're a fuck it or a fuck yeah at the moment. 2026, or it can be around the Christmas period, just to get through that period as best as humanly possible. Final thing we discussed around this was the identity statement. So I set an identity statement about 12 months ago, and like it's got a goal on it. It's got what I would need to build that goal, to achieve that goal, and that's who I would need to be to achieve that goal. And I guess depending on what part of the category you fit in, whether you're a fuck it or a fuck yeah at the moment, is how you would frame up your identity statement. So if you're in the fuck it category just at the moment, and we want to get out of the fuck it category, the identity statement could look at something like this. Like my Christmas standard is 3 workouts a week, hit my protein goal 5 out of 6 days instead of 6 out of 7 days. So you've got 2 days to, not be on standard instead of one that I think is normally fair enough. And you do this, and like to add a bit of another layer to it, like this is my standard, and right here is what I'm attempting to be out of it. Because I'm building more grit. I want to have more resilience. I want to have more grit. So I'm going to do this thing here. However, if you're in the fuck yeah pile, you might be thinking about 2026. So in 2026, I'll replace, these habits, whatever the bad habit or whatever the trait is that you want to change about yourself. And instead, I will do these things. And then you list the things that you want to improve because I'm seeking growth. Like that's the intention around it. And that's why I'm actually going to do these things here. So, yeah, the identity statement off the back of setting some not negotiables, I think is a really beneficial way to unfuck Christmas or nail the Christmas period. Or if you're already nailing the Christmas period, have a look at what you can do for 2026. Can I get a head start on being the best version of me for 2026? So I would first isolate where I sit in the fuck it and fuck yeah category and what simple swaps can I make about being in the fuck it mindset and get me over to a fuck yeah mindset. Because there'll be some simple swaps you can take. Framing things up, lower the bar, we don't drop it. This is about a standard for ourselves. Having an environment and routine that's going to get us to a fuck yeah on Christmas Day. And then if we're looking forward or backwards or in the moment we are in, if we want to have some action or implementation based off where we think we sit, having not negotiables is really, really important, and learning to trigger them really, really key. And then when we want to take that a step further, we nail down on an identity statement. So that's the basic breakdown of what was happening on the call. Now, if you're watching this back, the bonus mission points, bonus points for Heat Seeker. Write out daily not negotiables. Post them in the group. I'm just using the pen because I've, just brought this pen today and I just really like using it. Just really happy with my new toy. So that's the bonus mission points. It's going to be writing out a set of daily non-negotiables that you're going to stick to either over the Christmas period or just going forward in general. So anyone who does the daily non-negotiables needs to post them in the group if you want. So that's worth 50 points. If you want 100 points, post them to Instagram and you tag us. Tag peak shape. All right, that's all done and dusted, guys. I hope you took something from that, and I hope you get your daily not negotiables done and that you find that really, really helpful. All right, we're back. So yeah, pick your daily non-negotiables up. If you're looking for bonus points, you've just been shown how to get them. So go and get after it. I hope that that little session was useful and helpful around how to nail the Christmas period.